Hey guys, welcome back. Yesterday I played again in a tournament and got top 2, this time in a 64 player tournament. We played 3 rounds of Swiss, I won all of them, and then we had the top 8, top 4 and then top 2, which I was in the finale and I lost 2-1 unfortunately to a Dragon Link player. And today I want to show you the decks, talk a bit about the thought process, but mostly I want to show you the replays of the finals and the semifinals because they were really cool games. I want to analyze them, explain to you a few things, and yeah, I hope you can learn something from this. If you also want to take part in these tournaments that you can take part in for free, I will put the link to the Discord that you have to join in the description below. You can also win prizes. I won 2 packs of Master Duel card sleeves, which they are apparently not being sold anywhere, so they are quite valuable. They are like $40 per pack, so really nice price. Going first, I would have also have gotten a game mat, and if there is a bigger player tournament like 512 players, for example, then you can also win a Steam Deck like I mentioned in the video before. So let's just talk about what I played for the event. So once again, I played my Labyrinth furniture deck and I will show you the list I played. I have not changed up anything here. I really like the deck. I also play it in the TCG. I feel really comfortable with the deck. I like the ratios that there are right now. In the beginning, I didn't really like the Psy-Frame Gale Gamma, but that changed. I do like it now. Skill Drain, an awesome card that can win you games on its own. Cards like Ice Dragon Prison, which I really didn't like at the beginning also, but after using it a few times, I think it's quite nice, especially in this current meta. We have 2 pots. You could also considering putting in Pot of Prosperity in, and I do put a Pot of Prosperity in, or I tend to do when I go second with this deck, because then I can more consistently search for cards like my evenly matched. So this is what I do when I'm going second. This was the Labyrinth Furniture going first deck. Then in a few matches, or in one match I think, I used this going second variant. I think I played against, what was it? We will see it in the replay. I played against... not quite sure, we will see it in the replay, but I choose this going second version, I think also against the Labyrinth player. And there you can see I have the Pot of Prosperity in, because I wanted to be more consistently able to find cards like my Evenly Matched or my Double Lightning Storm. That's also why this Virus is in here, because I played Labyrinth, also the Duster, and this can get you into any of these board-breaking cards. And here I also put Maxi out, which you can definitely argue about, but obviously against Labyrinth, I thought like, okay, Labyrinth is never going to summon a lot of monsters, so there is basically no use in putting these Maxis in. So this one I used in one of the games, we will see. And then in my top cut matches, if you don't know how the system works, so in the Swiss rounds you basically always play a best of 1 and you can change deck in between, but I have only played Labyrinth in the Swiss cut, and we are playing, as I already said, 3 rounds, and you need to go 3-0 to go to top cut. Only the best 8 people will be 3-0 at the end of the Swiss rounds, or the best people. You could also say the luckiest and most skilled people, because obviously luck is involved in drawing your hand. Luck is involved in the fact that I definitely won every single coin flip in the Swiss round, though I have also have to say that the first 2 rounds when I went first, I had a really horrible going first hand, so wasn't a big difference from going second hand or from going second in general. So yeah. In the third game, I just dominated, had a better hand than my opponent, which also the opponent, that's quite funny, he posted under the last video of this tournament series. And shout out to you, my friend, it was a cool match, but yeah, unfortunately, I had the luck, I had the going first, I had a really good going first hand, and then he wasn't able to do anything. And sometimes it's just like that in these tournaments, but that's a cool thing. You can join the tournaments and you can play it. If you then find yourself on the losing end and having a negative record, for example 2-1, or you lose your first game, then you can just say, okay, I lost my first game, I will not be able to make top cut, if you have a 64 player tournament, that is, and then just leave it. Okay, but this one was the one I switched to when in the top 8 matches, or in the top cut matches, I knew that I was going first. So if I knew I was going first, I switched over to this list here. I think I also put out the impermanences then, not quite sure. I have rechanged this list to the list I used before. I think I have put out the impermanences for Caught by the Graves, so I can be safe from an Ash or from an imperm, from a Maxi more effectively. You could also think about putting the imperms out for cross or designators, because if you know that you are going first, then obviously an imperm is nice to set on your field, that's for sure. But if a cross or designator or a Called by can basically get you the ability to play your first turn and play it successfully, that is worth more than is an imperm on your end board field. So this is what I switched to, because I thought like, okay, if I can go first and my opponent saw that I played Labyrinth, he will probably side in cards like the evenly matched, and my thought process was that when he sides cards like evenly matched, I can just switch to Purely, and maybe he also goes for Lightning Storm and stuff like that, but probably not for Kaijus, because why would you go for Kaijus against Labyrinth? He would probably go for Feather Dusters or Lightning Storms, evenly matched. So my thought process, and it happened, my thought process was that I can go to Purely, make a big unaffected Towers monster, and then he will have nothing for it. And that went well a couple of times. And then I had this going second variant that I used in the finale against Drangling. Here I tagged in, I think I've already tagged stuff out if I look at this, but I have tagged in 3 Drolin Lockbirds. I have put out the Ashes because Ash is not that amazing against... no, it's the same thing. Ash is not that amazing against Drangling. I've put in 2 Nibiru's because it's really nice against Drangling, Drolin Lockbird against Drangling, and then I've also kept in the Infinite Impermanences to interrupt my opponent. Unfortunately, in the finale, in the last game, I was only able to draw 1 Infinite Impermanence as an interruption, but I also have to say, I think I could have won the finale. I have really misplayed in the finale, and the last game especially, but we will look at this in a moment. But yeah, this was the Purely going second deck list. And was really fun. So if you ever play these tournaments, one cool thing that you could do, I don't want to craft this entire deck, but if you have the Numeron strategy available to you, then one cool thing that you could do is just take the Numeron deck, and if you know you are going second, because let's say you are going first, you win the coin flip, then you win the game, then your opponent has the opportunity to choose whether he wants to go second or first, and if he says, okay, I am going first, which is basically all of the time, then you can just take your you have to decide whether you want to go first or which deck you want to play before your opponent tells you whether he wants to go first or second. But obviously you can assume that if he has the choice, most of the time he will want to go first, so then you can just queue in your Numeron going second and yeah, be in a very good position. But let's look at the games from top 4 and the top finals, I think. And hey guys, just a quick one. If you want to support the channel, then please consider subscribing, as at the moment only 13% of the people who are regularly watching the channel are subscribed, while 87% are not. If you want to help me out, I would be very grateful. And now let's continue with the video. Talk over them, it's also nice for me, so I can recap them a bit. So these were the games against I played in the finals, and then the games against Himnas was the one I played in the top cut, I think. Though, now that I'm realizing that I only have 1 game from the top 4 match. Okay, unfortunately, I thought I would have saved them all, but then there's only 1 that we can look at, and then the top finale games. So this was my top 4 game. I will have to stop this just to understand where we are at. I think this was the 3rd match, if I'm not mistaken, and I think he is going, yeah, he's going first. This is the 3rd match. I won the first, he won the second. Oh no, he won the first, I won the second, and now he can go first. So he picked Purely going first, which this is also what I did. You can also see the Called by the Grave here. Really unfortunate for him, because his hand ends up being quite bad, or I have the right interruptions, you could also say. But let's see what happens here. So this is the 3rd game. He has to go Effect Veiler, because if he doesn't get a card on the field, he cannot activate the Happy Memory. That's already quite bad, because it says choose 1 card on the field, and until the end of the next turn, the first time it would be destroyed by card effect, it is not destroyed. So he decides to normal summon the Effect Veiler. I have to say that I would have just set the Called by or the Puib, I guess. With this hand here, because that is really bad. With that, obviously you want to go poorly happy memory and discard your brow, but with this hand I probably would have set the yeep, because probably you will need the yeep to get into your ex-poorly noir with this hand, because it's not that great. So you could have kept the effect value, could have also kept the normal summon then, and just target the yeep with this effect instead of the effect value. I think I would have done that, but it's rough. He goes normal summon the poorly and activate the brow. So what I do here is, okay, let me show you. I activate the Ash Blossom, because I still have the impermanence, right? So the impermanence is kept for the Pure Lily, so he can't get to his My Friend Purely. And obviously I was thinking, if he has My Friend Purely in his hand, then that would be the best Ash I can do, but he only had 2 cards in his hand, and I was like, okay, how big is the chance that he really has this in hand, right? So I thought, I might not get a better option to Ash than a Purely here, especially if he is low on resources and desperately needs something, right? So I was, okay, I can either Ash My Friend Purely, that would be the best target, or just the Purely, and that's what I did here. He goes Caught by the Grave, and now I was thinking whether I want to imperm this, but in the end I was like, okay, I won't. And this will pay off very nicely for me here, and very unfortunate for my opponent. Yeah, he reveals 3 and unfortunately misses. That's really rough. Draws a card, draws a Maxi, which is okay, I guess. Goes Sylvan Princess Sprite to look at the top card, and at this point I am going, oh okay, I was thinking about impermanency here, but I was like, okay, this card often misses, and this card can also get something like, I don't know, another Caught by the Grave, so it's not even guaranteed that he will get another quick play spell. He sets the Yeep for whatever reason, and in the end phase I go Stovey Torby to get a big welcome on the field, and I'm deciding to discard my big welcome here, because that's alright. Whenever there's engrave, I can use this engrave, I can use this Graves effect, but obviously I want a big welcome live. That's very important. For next turn I want to keep my pot, because that's big card advantage here, and also the imperm, because I can see his situation. This card is basically useless. I can kill this, and then whatever he has 1 hand card, and if for example he would have drawn into a quick play spell, summoning a Purely or a Pure Lily, then I could have impermed that. So that's why I also wanted to keep my imperm. Obviously we are starting with the pot here. Lightning Storm, very nice. Pot here, and then I draw, this is really nice. Fenrir is nice, right? This is obviously over. Lightning Storm, I destroy this. I go Fenrir, search the other Fenrir, and now I can normal summon. I think normal summon, yeah, and then activate this to get the, okay, he goes, this is okay, because I only want to summon 1 more time this turn, so he can get an additional card. I will make a mistake in a moment here. So I go lovely, bounce that back, he draws a card, and I go and destroy this card. Then I activate Fenrir to remove this, and I also activate Stovey Torby, because a card has left the field by trap effect. I can resummon Stovey Torby. This I should not have done, because I can destroy this card with the lovely, I can run over, okay, I can banish the Princess Sprite, and then next I can then have just reset the big welcome. The next turn he draws his 1 card, I activate big welcome and rip his 1 card out of the hand, and it's game. By me summoning the Stovey Torby here into the Maxi, I obviously give him another draw, and the Stovey Torby doesn't really accomplish much here. So mistake here for my part. I realized this when this hit the field. So I destroy 1 card, I reset the big welcome, set the imperm, but I'm still like, okay, this game is pretty much over. So I let him draw, and I was like, okay, I will just rip 1 card out of his hand in the draw phase. Summon Lady, bounce back Stovey, activate this, hit this, and he has My Friend, which doesn't matter. He can play My Friend, and now he can search, I don't know, I think he searches Pure Lily. Yeah, makes sense. One of the normal summons, right? But I have the imperm, so that's just game. Goes this, I go imperm, and that's just game. I don't think, yeah, he scoops here, okay. And so I went into the finals. Unfortunate that I don't have, I thought I had also saved the other ones, but I think I didn't. Alright, so let's hop into the finals, where I went against this Dragon Link player, who also played Trap Tricks as a second deck. So I played Labyrinth, and then Purely as a second deck, and the guy played Trap Tricks. But now he goes Dragon Link. I unfortunately lose to coin flip, and I go with my Labyrinth here, and I was like, oh, Dragon Link, okay, this could be rough. Interesting hand here. I do have a Maxi in draw phase that he cannot counter. That is nice, so I go for the Maxi. He goes Quick Launch to basically summon something before my Maxi resolves. Summons the guy, Maxi resolves. He goes for Bestial Rebellion, makes sense. At this point, I'm thinking, when do I want to activate my Psy Flame Gear Gamma, right? I was thinking about activating it here, but then I was like, okay, he's getting a Bestial, that's fine, get your Bestial. Then he goes for, I was thinking that he wanted to end up, because under Mech C one of the best things you can do is go Seal, then you can bounce something and you can get some follow-up for your next turn. So I thought this is what he wanted to do. So I decided, my thought process was basically, if I can hold the Psyflame Gear Gamma for next turn, then he will at some point activate something, because I have seen that he have added a Bestial. Obviously he will activate this at some point, and then I might be able to use the Gamma on my turn, get the Driver and Gamma on the field, and the plan was to use to get Axel Synchro into the Baron. I draw a Kuklok because he had summoned. He activates this to bring this back. I let this go through because I don't really care. Doesn't really matter. I draw, obviously, Pot of Exile gets his first, and it looks good, right? So it looks kind of good here. The situation is nice. I draw an Ariana, which is very nice. Activate Ariana, get Big Welcome, and now I have combo, right? I can go Big Welcome, and I thought he would do this. So the plan was as follows, and it worked out at this point. So what he did here was, what I wanted to do is, I have the Big Welcome now and the Kuklok. So I can now go activate Kuklok, set Big Welcome, then get the Lovely to the field, bounce back my Ariana, and then destroy something in his hand or in his field and reset the Big Welcome. Same thing that we did last turn, basically. But I also thought, if I activate Kuklok, he will realize that now is his best time to bounce my Ariana back, because Kuklok only works if you have a Labyrinth card on the field. I don't have a normal summon left, so I thought like, okay, he will probably bounce back my Ariana. And then my field will be free to use my Psyflame Gear Gamma. He does this because he will summon something now, and then he chains his Magna Mood, which is the Bestial that I knew from hand, right? I was like, awesome, now I can use my Gamma in a moment when he activates Magna Mood effect. So he bounces back my Ariana, summons something from his guy here, and goes Magna Mood effect, which I can now Gamma. It's super nice. Unfortunately, I don't know about the second Bestial, and the second Bestial will break my neck in a moment. So I negate this, destroy this, he resummons, I'm not quite sure what did he resummon, Absoluta makes sense. I go into Axel Synchro to go up into Baron. Unfortunately he has a second Bestial and can remove my Psyflame Gear Gamma that I could have revived with the Axel Synchro to go into Baron, right? But he removes it. So now I'm like, fuck, okay. I go battle phase, battle over this, because I was thinking, okay, this will hit the graveyard at some point, and there is no sense in trading this here, because a ball deck is not really a problem for me as a Labyrinth, because I don't use my extra deck. And now I'm unfortunately only left with these two cards, which basically means I am only left, because he has also removed my Kuklok, right? Had he not removed my Kuklok, I would have had better plays on my next turn. So I'm basically left with, this can summon, for example, Ariana into Lady. Then I could use this. I could chain the Lady, set, I don't know, Dogmatic Punishment. I could get the Lovely, and then I have one destroy. Either a destroy card in the hand or destroy a card on the field. That's what I have, right? This is what this is. Unfortunately, this is not very much. So I go for the Ariana, like I talked about, go search the Lady, and at this point, it would have been very nice having another Kuklok in deck, because then I would have searched the Kuklok here. Then I could have bounced the Kuklok, get the Lovely out, destroy something, and still have a live trap here. Oh no, I would not have been able to because of Lady. He searches Druid's Worm, summons the Rocket Racer, goes into a Baron because they are unfortunately 10, and now the game is basically over. So at this moment here before, obviously I could have activated this to summon my Lovely and try to destroy something, but the problem is that at the point where Rocket Tracer has hit the field, he has this quick effect available to him. You can target on face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon on Rocket Monster from your deck. So what I could have done here is I could have targeted with the Lovely that I could have summoned with a Big Welcome, could have targeted the Bestial here, then he would have used the Rocket Tracer, destroying the Bestial, summoning the other Rocket card to the field, and then he could have gone into a Synchro Ace, so a Chaos Ruler. Maybe this would have been better, because now I'm in the situation that he has a Baron and I only have one more interaction, which is Big Welcome, and he can just negate it. Because so basically I can do nothing now, and now he can freely play, which is unfortunate. I'm staying in the game. I try to see where this is going, but I already know that this is probably a loss, because as I already said, the only interruption I have, he can negate. We can fast forward a bit. He accrues more advantage, gets more stuff to the field, gets more stuff in the hand. And here I'm like, okay, I will chain this to maybe bounce this back, but I already knew that he will use Baron, negates this, and this is just game, because now we can just, I think, do I let this run through? I'm not quite sure, but obviously he has all that he needs. He can destroy everything now, and has a Baron, which the negate is no longer alive, of course, but yeah, he can go into the full board once again. And keep in mind, this is not my going second variant, so I don't have evenly matched or something like that. And I think at this point I scooped the game, because he will get into more stuff. He will probably get into the negate dragon synchro. Maybe I could have continued the play, but super unlikely that I would have won this, to be honest. Then for the second game, let's play. We have a number of turns, 7. I think here I went going first poorly, and he went Trap Tricks. So this was what I expected, because I saw that he played Trap Tricks in a replay. Okay, we are going first poorly. I messed this draw phase thing up here. Fortunately, he does not have a draw in Dogbird. I start with Field Spell, then Sleepy. He maxes me, which is okay. I was like, okay, I will just go into the big boss monster with as few summons as I can. So I summon Pure Lily, discard this one to draw a card, get the Yeep to the hand, because Yeep basically means that I don't have to summon an additional time. I can do it on my opponent's turn. So now I only have to give him one more card, because I only have to go into Plump now. Brow draws me a card. I already have my friend, that's why this works. Activate my friend. I have a called by for a potential Ash. He doesn't have it. Grab my Delicious Memory, then I use my Pot of Desires now. Pot of Desires is a dangerous card, and we will see why in a moment, because this game will come to a point in which my resources will run very low, also because I've used the pot. But what you should always do before using the pot, you should always first search your Delicious Memory, because as you can see right here, I have banished a Delicious Memory. So with the My Friend Purely, I would now not be able to get into the Delicious Memory, which is a problem. So go this line first, then go pot. If you can, obviously. I draw, that's nice. I go Delish, but don't summon. Just put it to the grave. Now I do my summon. And the cool thing is that I have, I think, no one Sleepy Memory, but I will get another Sleepy Memory under it. So I attach these two here, and then I can just put another one under this, another material. I will not summon, so I have an Ash, a Called By, I have my Yeep, and I have two Sleepy Memories. Though the Sleepy Memories aren't that important, because I don't have a lot of going second cards in my deck. Because I put them out because I knew I was going first, right? I think I draw a Maxi if I'm not mistaken. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I will draw a Maxi in a moment. Spoiler alert. So obviously Yeep into draw another 2. The next card is Maxi, which I will then... Oh, okay. Then it wasn't this game. He goes Lightning Storm, that's quite nice, because losing my friend and the Field Spell, that's impactful. So he goes the Pudica, which searches the Field Spell, and the Field Spell would have basically meant that he can do an additional normal summon. So my thought process was, okay, easy game, I just negate this so we don't get the Field Spell, then I just spin this back, and then he can't play anymore, because he can't make Sarah when he doesn't have a Traptrix monster, and Traptrix doesn't have a lot of special summons. They have this normal summon. If the normal summon doesn't work, it's basically the end of the turn. So he ends his turn. I was like, nice, really nice. But I also realized that I will not be able to kill him this turn. I go Pure Lily, grab my Street, activate Street, activate my friend. So I'm getting back advantages, revealing cards. So the plan is to go into another Big Noir and make this a Zeus, because this will leave the field because of the trap. I'm summoning the cats just to gain more advantage here. He has an evenly matched, which will come up in a moment, but I obviously do not know about at this point. The problem is that I can kill him this turn, right? Activate another Happy Memory, summoning another Purely, drawing another card, revealing. So gaining advantage, right? This is what this is. I miss here, it's okay. Draw a card with Brow. I can now... okay, yeah, I did this. So the idea was to go into another Big Noir, but unfortunately there was no Delicious Memory engraved. There was one banished and the other one was still under the X Purely. So I was like, okay, I will go into a Monster Negate. I will put some cards under this, and I can still use the Pure Leap next turn to get this into a Big Noir, and then I will use this to make a Big Zeus. That was the plan. And I will use these to go into the Robin, and this Nightingale Robin, which can bounce back special summon monsters. So I go into battle phase, not knowing that he has the evenly matched, obviously. I crash here. He goes evenly matched. I'm like, oh, that's bad. I remove all of them so I can make the biggest Zeus ever. That's not the biggest Zeus ever, but it's a 6 material Zeus. That's quite nice. So I pass over, right? He goes normal summon and searches Holutea. So I wasn't sure this was... I looked this up, but I was under the impression that Holutea, summoning the Holutea, would not enable him to make a Serra. So I was like, okay, I can just clear the board now. I have 3 clears. I can just clear the board now. And then, because I didn't want him to make a Serra, because at the moment, though I guess I could have also waited for this to become a Serra. Little mistake here. So I wanted to wipe the board now, because I was like, okay, he only has this trap cannot make a Serra, so his turn should already be over. So I clear this now, should have waited here to make this a Serra. He goes and makes Holutea. I'm like, okay, this cannot make a Serra, so I didn't clear here, which was okay. He goes and makes a Serra. Then he makes Parallel Exceed. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I let him make his 2 Parallel Exceeds. I clear again. And then he sets and I clear again. Because I'm like, okay, probably I will be able to kill him here. Just have to get my Delicious, my Plump, and then I can maybe get some materials to the Plump, and then this will have a lot of attack. I tried to grab his Holutea, but then realized that he can banish this to summon a Trapdex monster, thereby basically rendering me unable to kill him this turn once again. So he resummons this one, I get this under the Plump. Go battle phase, battle over this, attack here. But I mean, it's still alright, because I have the Yeep, I have an Ash, so I can go into Expurlinoir, everything is fine. I go this and attach more cards to this. He summons this, which he can then resummon a card from the grave, and I'm like, okay, this is over. I just go into Expurlinoir, he goes Maxi, which I was like, okay. I don't let him draw any cards, so at this point it was game, right? Because I can go... He will go summon another monster, I can go Expurlinoir, and then spin both of these monsters back, and it's just game. Let's see this. I just spin both of them back. And that's it. I do this just for like... And you can see I have only 4 cards left in deck, right? This is obviously also because he used evenly matched and I had to banish some cards, but also my pot really cost me some cards. So the pot is definitely... it's a nice thing, but it's also dangerous. And yeah, I win the second round. And for the third round, I was thinking, okay, what do I want to do? What will I do? Will I go... go second Labyrinth, will I go second Purely, and I was like, okay, go second Labyrinth is really bad against Dragon Link, so I decided to make this, and this is what I showed you before, this going second Purely version here. I decided for triple Drone Lockbird, 2 Nubirus, 3 Imperms, and yeah, we have the Maxis obviously, and I was hoping to maybe get some of that into my hand. And yeah, I was like, okay, I will go second with this, I will try. And to be honest, I think I lost this game, as you can see, but I think I could have won this game. I have just really made some stupid plays, to be honest. But let's see. I will tell you where I think I could have done a better job, and definitely there's one point which I think I could have played different and won the game, to be honest. I only have an Impermanence, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so done here. But look at his hand is also bad. I was on Discord with my friend and I was like, okay, this game is over, look at my hand, I don't have interruptions, he has plays. Not realizing that his hand was really, really bad. He goes this, he can now search wide into Striker for the boot sector. And I was like, okay, where do I imperm this guy? And I talked with my friend and both of us were saying, okay, let's imperm him on the Romulus. I think Romulus is one of the better targets to imperm Dragon Link players, if you can. So he goes Romulus here. And I decide, okay, I will imperm Mimits here at this point. And it ends up working. So it was another one, he has a normal summon left. Imperm here, he normal summons and goes into triple burst, then seems crazy, and then he goes into this one, and then he makes a Heretic Seals. I don't know if this was perfect from his point of view. He sets the Imperm, and now we go. I go draw phase. I'm like, okay, I can win this game. It looks good. So I start here with the sleepy memory, right? Because I was like, okay, I'm in draw phase. I will play a bit in draw phase because I have pretty memory that I can use in draw phase. I have sleepy that I can use. Okay, we are going. So the first mistakes I will make here in this game is summoning these in defense position, because it would have been very important to run over this thing here in attack position. There will also be another mistake and another one. So I summon this. This is quite alright. He has an imperm here. Yeah, keep that in mind. We go this and this. I reveal 3. Grab another delicious. Draw another card. It looks really nice here. I go delicious. I target this one so it cannot be destroyed by battle, because I thought, okay, he will use this at some point and it will not matter. And maybe if he doesn't use it, I can maybe kill him and force him to use it. I should not have done this. I should have made my own guy indestructible and put him in attack position. That would help me out a lot, as we will see in a moment, because this thing will be a problem in the moment. In a moment, because I can't get rid of this because I have made it indestructible and I have summoned everything in defense position here. So, and here's the mistake. So, you could say mistake. Obviously, I'm still playing around Duel and Lockbird by playing in draw phase, but I have the street here. So, I have the ability to protect my special summoned Purelis from cards like Imperm, exactly what Lycia, unfortunately. So, I could have like predicted that. I could have gone to main. What I should have done, because I will now summon the Pure Lily, right? So, and he will imperm me here. Let's see this. So he imperms me here, which is really sad, because now I cannot use the summon from graveyard effect, and I can get my friend Purely, which is very bad. As we will see in a moment. So what I should have done here is just go to main phase, risk the fact that he could go into a Duel and Lockbird. But honestly, I could have gotten my friend Purely, then he would have dueled me, and I would have still been fine. So I should have gone the street here. And then summon this one, and then he would not have the ability to imper me here. What he could have done is he could have bounced this back, but then he could not have activated this in the same chain. I would activate this. No, because it's already activated. So yeah, he couldn't have done anything. I should have played this in main phase, then go for the Pure Lily, and then I would have gotten my friend Pure Lily, which would have made a big difference because of the grind game in which we will end up in a moment. And this would have made all the difference, unfortunately. So now I'm like, okay, I am in this situation. I go main phase, I play my field spell, right? And now this one doesn't target, by the way. So the bouncing effect of this doesn't target. So this doesn't help me against this, but it would have helped me against the Imperm. So I'm thinking like, okay, now I have a problem, because I can't kill this by battle, because A, I've put everything in defense position, and B, I have just made this indestructible by card effect. So the problem is that at the moment I use the one card I have to rank up the Purely into, for example, the Beauty, then he can just bounce it, and it will go to the grave, and because I don't have my friend Purely, I will not get anything back from the grave. So just imagine I would have my friend Purely here, and he bounces something, or bounces my Purely XYZ, then I would just get every card of this back, and then I would still have place, right? So I'm like, okay, this is bad. I'm like, okay, what can I do? Imagine, I can't even go into a Zeus, because if I go for the Slacker Magician, he can just bounce the Slacker Magician. I can't get rid of this. If I would not have made this indestructible and just put one of these into attack mode, I could have battled over this, basically forced it to use its effect, and then I would have gotten rid of this. But now I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. I summon another Purely, hoping that I hit something, which I do. Very lucky here. I grab the delicious memory, because I want to go into a plump. So now I'm thinking I have to get rid of this, otherwise I can't use them. So the only thing I thought was able to help me was Azalea. So I go Azalea and force this thing to be activated. He activates this, bouncing back my Azalea, which makes sense. Summoning a Bestial Magnamut, obviously, to have follow-up for his turn. And now I can at least rank up here. So I rank up, I have the ability to put Pretty Memory under this. So what I can do here is use Pretty Memory, get this to the grave, and then scoop this thing. But and at every point now, just imagine that there was a My Friend Purely here. It would have made all the difference in the world. So here was a big thinking point for me. I thought about this a lot. So I attacked first, but I thought about whether I want to go an Ex-Purely Noir now or a big Zeus. In the end, I decided for the Ex-Purely Noir, which I think was the right call here. He will use a Druid's Worm. that would have been a problem for the Zeus. He adds an Apsu router and we go over. I have three spins on my ex-Puruli Noir, and just imagine there would have been a My Friend Puruli here. So, such a big difference. I draw one card, draw a Nibiru at the not a good moment. So I decide he gets rid of the Apsu router. I know that he has a boot sector launch in hand because from last turn, so I decide to just spin the Apsu router before it can activate its effect to add a Rocket Tracer. Just spin it back, one spin is gone. He draws a Lubelion, that's really unfortunate. Lubelion gets some access to his Druid Worm, so at this point Druid Worm would have outed the Zeus that I would have made. I spin this now because otherwise he can just, I don't know, make a summon with this and then he can destroy my ex-Puruli Noir with the effect of Druid Worm. I spin this. Unfortunately, he's Dragonlink and has 1,000 plays. He goes this, draws into a Rocket Tracer. This is obviously super bad, one of the worst cards. I think if he would not have drawn the Rocket Tracer here, if he would have drawn anything else but the Rocket Tracer, then his turn would have been over, right? Because let's say he draws, I don't know, another Chaos Space. Then this turn is over because then he can only summon this guy, make a Striker Dragon, that's it. But unfortunately, I will spin this back, and unfortunately has this combo, which is enough to like really get me into trouble. He can go Chaos Ruler now, and the next unfortunate thing is that I could not use Nibiru on the summons before. This is the 5th summon. It would have been awesome to not have him use this effect, because this effect will break my back in a moment. Because he adds an Effect Veiler, which will be very relevant here in a moment. His things were bad here, right? So he gets an Effect Veiler, and I use the Nip. He goes for the Bestial Lubelion here, and now I use the Nip so that he doesn't get his spells and traps to the field. I use the Nip, realizing that I can't even kill this thing now, and he has the Effect Veiler in hand, which is a really big problem. I didn't know of the Ash, obviously. He resummons the Chaos Ruler, just crashes this, and he has a token I can't really win against. So at this point I'm like, okay, it's probably over. And once again, just imagine I would have a My Friend Puruli at any point. Obviously I would then not have used the Nip here. I would have kept this on the field so he can crash into this, but would have made a big difference. So I draw this and I'm like, okay, I have to pass over because I can't do anything with this. Also he has an Effect Veiler. He draws a Bestial Baldrake, goes Bestial Baldrake. I'm like, okay, that's okay. It's not the worst. And then I draw a pretty interesting card. Unfortunately, as an Ash, otherwise this could have been interesting. So I draw Brow, which is probably one of the best draws here. Because I can go this here, then I know he has the Effect Veiler, right? So I know for sure that the Puruli or Purililia that I will summon here will be negated. And I didn't know of the Ash, right? So obviously I go Puruli, discard the Brow, then I could have summoned a Puruli or Purililia. This would have been negated, but I would have gotten another draw here. And maybe I could have done something with this. But he has the Ash, which he can use at this point, and now it's just game. So he got very lucky with his one Rocket Tracer draw. I played it badly in the beginning, unfortunately. Because just imagine if I would not have like protected the spheres from being destroyed by battle and would have put one of my Purulis into attack position battling over this, I would not have been I wouldn't have made the Azalea, which the Azalea was completely useless. I had to make the Azalea just to out these spheres. If I had just battled over the spheres, I could have had 2 additional level 1 monsters, which I can make, I don't know, a Zeus with, or I can make a Princess Bride with, or I can make the Robin with to negate a special summon. Would have been way better. I think me playing this here more correct would have ended up in me being the winner of this tournament. Unfortunately, I was second place, but it was really, really fun. I always said it, if you also want to take part in these events, in these tournaments, the link is in the description. I hope you liked the video. Let me know in the comments if you find these sorts of video interesting. I really like it. I really like going over my own replays, learning stuff. And yeah, thanks for being here, and we will see each other in the next one.